Professor Nyan-GP Okoro, who is the Deputy Vice Chancellor or Senior Vice President, Academic, Babcock University. Thank you so much, sir. We are ready to take the picture. The Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, not yet here. I believe they will join us. We will take their message in the course of the program at appropriate time. We will take a group photograph right now, and I have a little challenge. You didn't ask me what is your challenge. Now I'm comfortable. My challenge is we are well seated. That is not the challenge. It's the introduction to the challenge. We are well seated, and I wouldn't want our well sitting to be disorganized. And there is no way we can all snap the picture upstage here. So it means that we have a very fantastic, I told you at the beginning that we have very beautiful spots in Babcock where you can snap picture and everybody will think you travel to US to do conference. Let them comment before you tell them that Nigeria is one beautiful place in Ogun State called the Edition Babcock University. We will snap the picture just outside, but I want us to just come back inside quickly after the picture and assume this same organized sitting position. That is my challenge. Because immediately after the snapping of the picture, we are coming in for the first session. The real business, the meat in the mushroom. We are coming in to start off what we have actually come for. So are you promising me that? That you will not go away after snapping the picture. That's number one. And then that you will come back in quickly. You won't go and buy puff and something and stray away. Very good. You don't even know where they are selling it. So please let's come back inside. Maybe the student in particular I'm talking to you. It's not the end of the program. Let's come back inside and remain seated to enjoy and get something. For those students that are here, take notes. I'm sure some of our teachers will want to use some of the information you are getting in your class to either support what they are teaching or even test you in the exam. So take notes of what you are going to be hearing. Babcock is not strange to mushroom. Babcock University is one of the universities in Nigeria where every student from the first year to postgraduate eats mushroom on a weekly basis. Let's clap for Babcock. Am I lying, students? No. You see, so they are already consumers of mushroom. It's a big market for mushroom. So we'll go now, take the picture, and then file back inside. From the control room, you can give us music while we go to snap the picture. Let's put our hands together for ourselves. Thank you so much.
Americans, it's even a god to them. They worship a kind of mushroom, the Mesoamericans. To Jamaicans, it's a psychedelic source. A source of hallucination. In fact, that was, Jamaica has the first research center for magic mushroom study. Magic mushroom, first international research center. University of West Indies. To Africa, it's like a poor man's meat. Because before, even now, not many of us have so much information because it's not mushroom. Eating mushroom is part of us. but cultivation is not our traditional activity. So, let's move on so that we can, let's briefly look at our mushroom in our land. Let's restrict the discussion to our land now, Nigeria. We are going to look at pictures of few of them, and we'll confirm it that we have this one in our environment. So next time when you see them, you know the decision to take. This is milky mushroom. It's in our environment. We find it in our bush. It's an edible mushroom. This is another mushroom. It's also edible. It's found in our bush. This is another one, coprinose. It's also edible. It's available in our forest here. We also have ganoderma. This is medicinal mushroom. This one grows mostly, all over places, on dead wood, and we find it and kick it off. This is Aerosolus. It's also a very good mushroom, very sweet. Southeastern people, they love this mushroom so much. This is Bovarella. It's also a very sweet mushroom. It's found where they are processing palm oil, rice field, and so on. This is a bolute. We find it mostly at the onset of rainfall. So another bolute, we find it at the beginning of rain, let's say around March, April. That is when we find it's very big and very sweet. It tastes like liver. This is a lion mane. It's also called monkey head mushroom. Very medicinal and also nutritional. It's common on dead wood. If you are fond of gathering wood for firewood at the backyard, you will see it there. This one, maybe our taxonomists will help us. I call it karate because I entered into argument with one Chinese man. He showed me the one they call Flaminula poplicola. I said, okay, we'll have this one if you don't have that one. So he said, what's the name? I said, okay, we call it karate too because they have the one they call shiitake. And it's very sweet. You find it, around this season. This one is like button mushroom. I know many of us, when you say mushroom, many of us believe button mushroom is the only mushroom we have. This one is found in our local environment. This is ugly mushroom. It's poisonous one. You don't touch mushroom if you don't know it. This is beautiful mushroom. It's found in our environment too. This is termite mushroom. We are in Southwest. Let somebody tell us the Yoruba name for this. Yes? Olugogo, that's correct. Any moment from next month, you start seeing it along the side, along the road where people will be hawking it. This is Oluagbado in Yoruba too. You find it, after cultivation. This is Olu what? Okay, it's also termite mushroom. It's not Olu, you see Olu. This is Tuberregium. This one, the Babalawos, they have restricted this one to their use. And it's very good. It's not only meant for them. It has tuber. We can consume the tuber and we can consume the fruit itself. So the tuber can, Igbo people from Southeast, they grind it and add it to egusi to thicken it, and it's also a good medicinal mushroom. This is Olubeje. It's also one of the termite mushroom. Very sweet and to be very big. This is chlorophyllum. We find it mostly, around June, July, on the lawn, the grass place. This is Oluora. That's good. It's also one of the termite mushroom. This is wood ear, ATG, arugularia. It's also very medicinal mushroom. This is the first part of this presentation, just to show you some of the mushroom we have around. Because when you say mushroom, especially to some of us, the beginners, they think it's only oyster mushroom we have. But in our environment, there are a lot of them we can domesticate, that we have even domesticated, that we can grow for our consumption and for international trade. Let's move on to the next stage, which is the reproductive stage and give it a mushroom back. Then after the mushroom matures, it brings seed and the cycle continues. That's how it works in nature. Now, classes of mushroom. We have edible and non-edible mushroom. We have wild and cultivated mushroom, nutritional and medicinal mushroom, tropical and temperate mushroom. Edible and non-edible mushroom. Edible mushrooms are the mushrooms sent for consumption. They are packed full of nutritional and medicinal value. Edible mushrooms are cultivated under required growth conditions, and some could be picked from the wild. When we say edible mushroom, we can get, mostly we cultivate edible mushrooms. We can also get edible mushroom from the wild. So both edible and non-edible mushroom collected from the bush are called wild mushroom. Examples of edible mushrooms are oyster mushroom, button mushroom, shiitake, arugularia, termite mushroom, and so on. Non-edible mushrooms are referred to as poisonous mushroom. They are not safe for consumption. They contain high toxin level in high quantity, sufficient to kill human and pets. They are not cultivated for common use. Non-edible mushrooms are mostly found in the wild. Both edible mushroom and non-edible mushroom collected in the bush are called wild mushroom. Examples of poisonous mushrooms are fly agaricus. These are examples of edible mushrooms. Now, wild mushrooms are the mushrooms found in the forest. They were nurtured by nature. Among varieties found in the wild, there are edible mushrooms, poisonous mushrooms, and contaminated mushrooms. In the wild, you can find different types of mushrooms. The edible one, that you know that they are edible, you can pick those ones. There are poisonous ones. There's nothing you can do about them. They are poisonous. And there are contaminated mushrooms. These contaminated mushrooms could be edible, but for some reason, they could get contaminated because of use of chemicals and so on. That is why it is good to rely only on cultivated mushroom. These are examples of wild mushroom. We find this one mostly in the wild. The cultivated mushroom, you can see the difference. They always look neater and presentable. Now, nutritional and medicinal mushrooms. Edible mushrooms are once called food of the gods and are still treated as a garnish or delicacy, can be taken regularly as part of human diet or treated as healthy food or as functional food. There are three basic requirements for mushroom cultivation. These include spawn, which is the mushroom seed, substrate, and environment. However, for the benefit of this program, we would like also to list some other details which will ensure sustainable mushroom cultivation in Nigeria. Basic requirements for mushroom cultivation does include 1. Skill, 2. Spawn, substrate, supplement, substrate container, environment, tools and equipment, pasteurizing unit, building, and staff. Now let's look at skill. Skill include how to grow mushroom. You must learn how to grow mushroom. It beyond just go to internet to go and copy information. Of course, internet is there for us to understand more about what we are doing. But I'm telling you, the way things operate is not just like that. Somebody posts mushroom information from China. I want to adopt it in Nigeria. You have to work on how it will be useful or how it will be, it can be adapted in Nigeria. That is very important. So you have to learn how to grow mushroom. You have to learn what type of mushroom required in your location, what substrate is required for your chosen mushroom, and how available and affordable is required substrate. Then sustainable technology for the type of mushroom you want to do. Example of what we are seeing there in that skill. Okay, the next slide, spawn. Spawn is a mushroom seed. Just like seed to plant, mushroom also has seed. Mushroom has natural seed, but we use spawn for some reasons, which time will not permit us to discuss today. But know it that mushroom has seed, and spawn to, and as you already know, quality of the seed determines the success of a farm. Seed carries certain genetic property which it can only be displayed when planted. The same is applicable to spawn. Mushroom spawn is a seed required for planting mushroom, and it has to be of high quality. Look at that petri dish you are seeing there. Let's look at that slide, please. Let's go back. That petri dish you are seeing is contain mushrooms mycelium. It's similar to having SD card, memory card that can contain document. When you print such document, trailer loads may not be able to carry it. Same thing with this petri dish. By the time you work on this petri dish, it can produce tons of mushroom for you. So when you look at technology, mushroom has its own, brought its technology, has its own natural technology that is even different from the way science works. That's why scientists are also trying to imbibe use of mycelium to carry information. The next slide, types of spawn. We have different types of spawn. We have grain spawn, sawdust spawn, cloth spawn, cotton spawn. We have spawn can be produced using different substrate as medium. What is important for you is to get the right spawn, the pure spawn from the right source. That is why if you want to grow mushroom, you just have to learn or move close to people in the industry. And for that reason, you are encouraged more to speak or join with the association so that you'll be given the right information at the right time. So spawning method, let's move on. Spawning method is just planting method. We talk more about that the next slide. Now substrate. Soil to plant is like substrate to mushroom. There are various types of substrates with different physical and chemical properties. The physical and chemical properties of substrate play a vital role in mushroom cultivation. Let's quickly look at some substrates we have that can be used for mushroom cultivation. Examples are sawdust, rice straw, oil palm waste, cotton waste, groundnut shell, and corn cobs. Look at this example very well. And I want two people to give me two other examples of substrate that we can use to grow mushroom widely available in our environment. Just two quickly. Yes, one sir. Groundnut. Cassava peas, that's very good. One more example from anybody. Cottonwood, that's very good. Let's move on. Samples include also corn sleeve, waste from guinea corn, and so on. Now, in addition to this substrate, we need supplement to enrich the substrate. We have different types of supplements. We have organic supplement and inorganic supplement. But we encourage use of organic supplement because in Nigeria we still have a lot of advantages. Our environment is more or less like virgin because we have less industry that are contaminating our environment. So we have, we also encourage us to go organic farming. So we don't use any chemical in growing mushroom, unlike some sophisticated countries like China and India. They use a lot of chemicals to grow their mushrooms. Somebody was discussing with me yesterday, said he met an Indian man. He's trying to set up his mushroom production facility in Nigeria. So he started, the first production was not successful, the second one was not successful. Now he gave up, he now seek for expert advice. They are used to chemical over there. They use barbitane, formalin and so on to sterilize their substrate. But here in Nigeria, 90%, if not all, of our farmers, we use organic approach, which is only steaming to reduce or eliminate harmful organisms to mycelium. So our operation is still mainly organic. And we are not encouraging use of urea as many people are doing it outside the country. There's some quacks here in the country, they're also trying to use urea to grow mushroom. In fact, there was one scientific paper that said that's trying to find out that can urea really convert to inorganic manure for mushroom. So without that, we don't even encourage use of inorganic at all for mushroom cultivation. Mushroom will degrade the substrate, that is farm waste, take its own food, and also enrich the residue for you to use on your agricultural field as manure. So there is no use of inorganic substance in our mushroom cultivation. Let's look at different substrate containers. We have different substrate containers. And there's particular nylon that is standard nylon, which takes about 1 to 1.2 kg substrate. But your experience will tell you how to manipulate substrate bags. About 12 or 13 years ago, when we were looking for a special nylon that is called standard nylon, because it's not a common product here, we have to be traveling as far as Ghana to be able to getting those nylon. Then they sell it 10 to 12 naira per one. So we are still taking Nigerian money to Ghana to go and buy. But because we don't have sufficient knowledge as a thing to do commercial mushroom cultivation. So there we started researching into it. There are a lot of materials you can use to do your mushroom, to contain your mushroom as substrate container. We can use any available nylon, provided you have basic skill. That's again, we advise you go for proper training so that you'll be guided on how to do it efficiently and effectively. Next slide, please. You can see the first one, that is the common ice block nylon, which is common everywhere. You can use it to grow your mushroom, to contain your substrate. And the second one is column bag, which you can also make use of. Look at the next one too. Those are the bottles. We don't have that in Nigeria yet. So, but we can still get there. But we don't even need to be using, except if you want to do mechanized mushroom production. That is when you will need bottle for your cultivation. Otherwise, you don't need that for now. You can also use bowl to grow your mushroom. There are different substrate containers. Let's go next slide, please. Bovarella don't even grow in bag except on bed. Then the second picture there is milky mushroom. It's also preferred to make small bed on ground for it. Then they do very well. Let's go to the next slide. Now environment. This is the third requirement for mushroom cultivation. Environment required by the mushroom are low temperature, high humidity, pest and disease free environment. Then away from fumes or any environmental pollution. So that is why we have to grow mushroom in a controlled environment, and that gives birth to mushroom house. So you have to construct a house or convert a structure you have earlier to grow mushroom. So as to protect it away from flies and so on. One of the major problems of wild mushrooms are maggots, flies, and things like that. And the main reason is that maggot gets inside because flies are able to touch it and they lay their egg. So that's why you find maggots inside. But in the cultivated mushroom, if you control your house very well, flies will not have access to your mushroom, talk less of laying their egg and hatch to larva. So you only have clean mushroom. Even if you don't mind, you might not even need to wash your mushroom before you eat it, if it is cultivated under controlled structure. So greenhouse protect mushroom from direct rainfall, direct sunlight. Then it also conserves the humidity, also protect it away from pests and disease. You have to look at the site location. If you want to locate your mushroom house, because you have small space behind your generator house, that does not qualify that place to be a mushroom house. You have to take it away from generator fumes or where you have a refuse dump, where they burn it always. Mushrooms don't like all this offensive odor and smoke. Spawn lab is another structure that is required. In fact, you can't produce spawn outside. It has to be a mini lab or a standard lab before you can generate spawn. Then incubation room, there are also special room to protect your operation from contamination. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. It's something that if you learn how to do it, it's not that sophisticated. It is something that you can get on a very simple level. Then waste dumping and recycling site. You can dump you create a special place where you dump your spent substrate for further use. If you don't need it, soon you learn how to turn it to ferment it further and to be sold as a compost or manure for pottings and even farm organic manure. But if you want to use it further, you can ferment it further and use it as casing material for some type of mushrooms that require casing, like milky mushroom, even button mushroom. There are so many other mushrooms that will not do well except you case them. So the waste generated from the type of mushroom can be used in another type of mushroom. Then recycling site, you can also use the same substrate to grow different type of mushroom, because some mushrooms are primary feeders while some are secondary feeders. Let's move on and see some examples of mushroom greenhouse. The first one we have here is constructed with thatch. And that gives you cool environment. If you construct it very well, no rain can enter, no flies can enter, and you have cool temperature. So it has given you a perfect condition for growing mushroom. Mushroom greenhouses are structures used for mushroom cultivation for commercial quantity, good quality mushroom, and protection against unfavorable environment, like high temperature, fluctuating humidity, poor ventilation, rainfall, and pest disease. Next slide, see this greenhouse again. You can use this type of greenhouse. This greenhouse is constructed with old cement bags. You wash them, join them together, then put something like this under a tree. It's safe for mushroom cultivation. So you don't need sophisticated structure as such to grow your mushroom. What's important for you to get right skill to grow mushroom. An ideal mushroom greenhouse does not necessarily need to be high-tech, high-cost structure with all automated control. Though there are some mushrooms that are not our local mushroom, like button mushroom, like temperate mushroom generally, you will need a sophisticated growing room to do that. But generally, tropical mushrooms, you don't need high-tech structure to do that. Let's look at the next type of greenhouse. Like look at this one. Since there is no tree, maybe straw, guinea corn straw, or maize stalks after harvest to give it an insulation against the direct heat from sunlight. Look at the inner part. You can use shelf to arrange your bags. Let's go to the next slide. This one is use ordinary rope to hang them, so you can see very cheap material. Now look at another grey room there. It can be as simple as that. So if you want to do mushroom cultivation, you don't need to break a bank before you do so. Look at the next one. You have seen this structure before. Then look at the shelf, the way it is arranged here. There are different methods you can use to achieve your result. There's something that is called cultivation mode. This cultivation mode is determined by the type of greenhouse you have capacity to build. So there are some you can hang them with rope, you can hang them with spiny wire, you can provide shelf. You can even grow them on the floor depending on the type of mushroom or the scale on which you want to operate. To some level, you can use hand to do something, but shovel is not even costly, less than 2,000 naira. But what I'm trying to say is you can adapt if you don't have right equipment. And again, I emphasize, you want the right training. For you, have the right training before you start. Then you know where to manipulate or replace some items. Let's go on. Pasteurizing unit. Pasteurizing unit is a unit that's used to reduce contamination or remove harmful organisms. Because naturally, there are a lot of organisms that are living on this substrate. If you carry if you take examples of sawdust, there are a lot of bacteria and fungi that are living on it already, or rice straw, any waste like that. But if you want to grow a selective mushroom, for example, oyster mushroom, all you need to do is to mix your sawdust or any substrate, any chosen substrate, then you pasteurize it using steam. Just like as you want to boil moi. That is this drum, that's what it's used for. Drum is one of the simplest material you can use as your pasteurizing unit. And drum is sufficient for a beginner that wants to start small. You can do several batches if it cannot, if it's not big enough for you. But we also have bigger chamber. For example, this drum can take 50 to 70 bags of substrate bag. But we have a chamber that can also take 500 to 1,000 bags that we can make use of. So what is important, again, get the right skill so that you know how to manipulate all these equipment. If you cannot afford drum, there are some other things you can afford. But when you know what I actually want to achieve, then you know some things you can use to substitute for others. You know that you want to reduce the contamination, you want to kill all the possible spores that are living on the substrate already, you want to eliminate the bacteria, and in most cases, if you do fermentation, you get rid of mesophil bacteria, then replaced by thermophilic bacteria, which is useful for mushroom, because the temperature of substrate will finally drop, and they will remain as live protein for your mycelium. So when you know the basic information, the basic knowledge, then you can manipulate your material so you're able to get standard material. You also need some buildings. Building like substrate store, product store, tools and equipment store, working area, and administrative block. They are not all compulsory for beginner, but these are the structures you need. What is very important is that you have a working area where you can sit to do all your activities so that you will not be working under sun. Then others you can retrofit or you can convert any structure to suit your objective. Now, staff. This is one of the major problems of this industry. Some of our youths are very greedy on that. If you take them as a staff, and no matter how much you are paying them, of course you have to teach them to work for you. After they learn it, within 6 months to 1 year, they will claim to be a master. They start training people all about. Instead of, there are a lot to learn. We have been in operation for the past 15 years. Yesterday, I went to a farm. I still learn some other things. I mean, I have something that I'm able to add to my knowledge. I added to my knowledge when I saw that farm again. So you give yourself enough time to learn. If you want to work in a farm, try to follow the rules. Then I'm not saying, you can't be working for a company for your life. But if you work as a profession, you'll be paid as a professional. So take some time. You can study mushroom cultivation and go and apply a job in a farm, in a mushroom farm. Then you'll be paid as a professional. If you don't know anything, you start to learn it from a farm, and they employ you, okay, you start to learn. That does not mean after you have mastered it, then you leave that farm after 6 months, and you don't even have little to learn within that period. So we need to look at that area. If you want to take a staff, discuss with your staff, and farmers should also do their staff very well so that you enjoy your staff for good time before they decide to leave. Then, in some cases, in a big farm, you might need a consultant, because sometimes you, the owner, might not be able to see it all at a time. So if you have a consultant that his work is mainly mushroom, they can tell you where something is possibly going wrong. Okay, thank you for this, and let's move on to the next slide.
The questions. I want to ask one more question, and that is, is it a must that you have to go through the production chain, or can you leverage on one aspect and specialize on it? For instance, in poultry business, there are people who wait for others to raise the birds to point of lay, and people take it from there. So these are, is it possible to, instead of running through the risk, some people can just do from, they will just produce the bags which are already colonized and sell, while some people will just collect the bags that are colonized and, so are those possibilities open to interested farmers?
I believe you can answer this question.
Very much. Let me start with Dr. Babalola's question. So I should let it be the last. I want it to be the first, so that it will help us to understand certain things. There is one word I've added to mushroom cultivation. But there are two, one in the front, one at the back. The first word I always like to do is sustainable mushroom cultivation in Nigeria. Nigeria is the last one that I added to mushroom cultivation. Sustainable is the first one I added. It is possible we use that agbada or dandogo to grow mushroom. But will you be taking all your clothes to grow mushroom? It's not sustainable. So when you're talking about mushroom cultivation, sustainability is the first thing you have to think about. Years ago, when I was using cotton waste, I was in Abuja that time, and I have to go to Kaduna to go and ship cotton waste to Abuja. That's 2001, 2002. So, you know what happened to cotton industry now? When there was no cotton again, when cotton was declining, from Kaduna, I started going to Funtua, from Funtua to Kano. I said, what is happening? That is why I said, if you want to learn from experienced people. If you learn from somebody, there's just one way, and if there is no road again, then you can't do anything again. So that is when I started thinking of diversity. Okay, what other things? Because information, even on the internet, information on mushroom cultivation wasn't available as much as we have today, as at that time. So sustainability is the first thing. Even if you learn that rice straw can do very well, and you have sawdust at your backyard, why are you traveling distance to go and pack rice straw to your place when there is sawdust at your backyard? Sustainability. Sustainable edible mushroom cultivation in Nigeria. So that's not sustainable. Next is
all kind of mushrooms. We have edible and poisonous one. Is there any simple way we can identify the edible from the poisonous one?
Of course, we have that. My question is, for an average ramifibrant, how long is the fruiting process? Then, secondly, for existing farmers, one of though it has been said, but I just want to lay more emphasis on the ready-made off-taking markets for mushroom, because it is going to be a big source of encouragement if we really want people to dive into this business. Most of the challenge I have with some of my farmers are, they ask me questions. Who will buy this thing? Do we have markets? So if we are sure, and with this forum, if we can organize a well-arranged off-taking market, I think it would be very good encouragement.
Association of this mushroom association, what are the requirements to be one of the members of the mushroom association?
Yeah, someone has just asked the same question about to ask. For somebody to really key into growing, processing, and marketing of mushroom, you need to join the association. That's why I said someone has already asked the question. So how do we get the association? That offices, with state offices.
Delivering, you skipped a very important slide. That is the marketing analysis. Please, can you go over that? Thank you.
So that you open the first one, you close it, you screen that place. If there's any other fly, then you go in. Then like that you can minimize them. You might not be able to eradicate them 100% if you are doing organic production. But if you prevent it this way, you'll be able to minimize them. Have a double door, harvest some mushroom in time, clean the roots of failed or aborted crops from your bags. Then throw away debris, residues, far away from your mushroom house. You can control it, you can minimize it that way. Because the spread contamination, it may end into your mushroom and mushroom bags. Therefore, reduce your yield. The handouts I will leave down for. If you want the handout, you get registered with the organization. Then using your detail to be forwarded to you. And they have corrected this. I said 4 to 5 hours, not 45 hours. If you eat something for 45 hours, you are going to denature it. It will not be useful for mushroom again. Benefit of calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is to regulate the pH of your substrate. But if you are growing oyster mushroom, calcium carbonate may not be compostable. We have tried it with high success. But if you use it, it will improve it. It's just to regulate the pH of the substrate. How to identify, simple ways on how to identify mushroom, edible from non-edible mushroom. This is very funny. Our people, we said, if you harvest any mushroom from your farm, when you get home, just throw it to chicken. When they eat it, they say it's a lie. They are more sophisticated than we human beings. Chicken can eat shit, can you? You can't. So chicken is not the best litmus. It's not the best way to test for edibility of mushroom. There are recommended ways. Number one, which are explored very well, local intelligence. Go to local people. They have been eating it for years. And that is the method I have used with high success. I move into so many villages. We hunt together, and when we get to, we cook and eat together. And with that method, we have adapted so many local mushrooms ready for commercialization. That's number one. Secondly, you don't have to go for any identification. There's an association now by accredited or confirmed edible mushroom. You don't need to harvest in the wild. Now, let me tell you more danger in harvesting mushroom from the wild. Even if it's a non-edible mushroom, it could be contaminated, maybe by herbicides, pesticide, or heavy metal from soil, or fumes from the environment. And you wouldn't know if you have sprayed mushroom with herbicide or pesticide. If you eat such, it's harmful, it's highly toxic. So it is not advisable you eat mushroom from the wild, except you are very sure of the source. The third way to identify edibility of mushroom is to do lab tests, which of course you don't want to do that because you just collected mushroom from the wild to use as pepper soup at home. So I will be taking that one to the laboratory, which will cost you so much. So buy confirmed edible mushroom seeds. If you want to grow it, save yourself from stress of identification mushroom. Just boycott wild mushrooms, whether it's a non-edible or not, and leave that one for the experts. How long? This question is ambiguous. Said, how long can fruiting mushroom last? Or what quantity can mushroom bag produce? Well, let me just explain. The gestation of mushroom bags depends on the management. If you are able to management and substrate type, if you use sawdust, it can fruit for longer period of time, for 3, 4, 5 months, depending on the quantity per bag and your management approach. If you use rice straw, within 3 to 4 weeks, the rice straw is tired already. because it's not compacted. It doesn't have much food reserve like rice straw. Depending on the type of substrate like that. But generally, if you use sawdust and you're able to manage it very well with standard packaging quantity per bag, 2 months is sufficient. If it's getting more than that, you might be inviting contamination.
To what our presenter said. Mushroom is also, it's an organism. It's been established as a fungi. It's a fungus that grows depending on organic materials. Anything that contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen is organic, so can sustain mushroom. But we add all this to make that. Calcium carbonate also helps. You know, it contains calcium. Calcium is very useful in building the walls, which is the fruiting body that you see. It regulates the pH and also adds to the strength of what they call the fruiting body, the thing that bears the crop. It also helps it because it's one of the contents of that. I want to say for mushroom, how long it grows, he has really answered very well. The substrate is one. Secondly, the spawn that you are using too. If it's the first generation, you know, you can, as you are transferring the spawn, if it's the mother culture, of course you expect that it will last longer. But that original culture that you have, which is the spawn, if you transfer, you will also produce mushroom. As you keep transferring it, we call it serial dilution in microbiology. Will also determine on how long that mushroom will grow. The ones we grow in backward here takes us up to 3 months, sometimes 4, like you say. You know, that's the longevity of it when it produces. But how long it takes depends on the substrate. Secondly, the culture that is born itself. Is it first generation? Have you transferred to the second or the third? The longer, the more the generation, the less in terms of longevity, in terms of fruiting, and the quantity of fruiting bodies that comes out from that. We will leave the president to answer, because if you are doing any business and you are not sure of takeoff as been asked, it will look like he will address that exclusively.
And of course, the entry point or stage, if you can avoid certain stages of the chain and just start somewhere. Our work is left for me, and I thank my able deputy president, who is highly technical. You know, if you are in an association, you are only a technical man, you may be relegated. If you are in an association and you are only a politician and you are talking the technical people can throw you off. So we have a good team, a very good combination. Talking about the association, how to join, you know, that one is very, very interesting to me because it will bring money into the association. There is just one simple way of joining the association. You will take the association account and then you pay your membership fee into our bank, and you keep the teller and you put the teller in you let me know or let any of the officers know that you have joined. You are automatically included in a WhatsApp platform of the association and you belong to the association. The purpose of this sensitization is what I want to talk about because there is this question on what the government or how do we obtain funding And are there off-takers? Please let us listen to this very attentively. As I was sitting down here, message came from Abuja. And that message is telling me that the association will be officially launched to the public for every member of public to know on the 30th of this week. As we are sitting down here, that message came. What is the importance of the launching? The government wants to let everybody know that the Mushroom Association is on ground, and it is going to change that industry, because there will be policy statements, there will be guidelines. There are so many things that are being put in place now by the association. Very, very soon, it is going to be difficult for you it is going to be very difficult for you to go into mushroom production. The reason being that all the consumers of mushroom, we are making sure that the mushroom they consume is only that produced by the association. We have made so many, we put so many things in place. Before I came here, we were already talking with the Malaysian Association, Malaysian Mushroom Association. As we are talking now, they have already invited us to come to Malaysia from the 18th of November to the 24th of November. We are building synergy. We are making sure that we relate with other parts of the world, because our mushroom is highly organic and people are very interested in it. We are very conscious of our training. If you go to any place and you train without training through the association, we cannot say your training was a waste. But for you to sell, to partake in the market, both in Nigeria and outside, you must have the seal of the association in your products. We are already talking with the food industry. I don't see why we will not have we should not have mushroom noodles. Do you think it is not possible? Mushroom noodles. We are already working on it. And before the end of this year, it will come on stream. Do you know you can make meat pies? Instead of calling it meat pie. Instead of, sorry please, our grand gave him a more round of applause. Thank you very much, Your Highness. When I see you all the time, I am striving to work very hard. Because if you have this kind of people behind, before, and beside you, I don't think you have any problem. It's a very great pleasure to receive His Royal Majesty. you very much. It's about marketing. If you produce and there is market, you will continue to produce. This brings me to the issue of off-takers. For those of us who are already aware, we are in the Southwest, so most of us know about cocoa. And then some down Ondo area too, they know about the palm produce. There are people, small holdings, small farmers, who are producing cocoa. If the people come and buy their cocoa, maybe it's one bag. It is not their business where this bag has gone to. It's not their business who is going to sell the bag. As long as he has sold or she has sold and put her money in the pocket, it doesn't, wherever the cocoa like, make the waka go. So we are also aware that there will be small holdings, small mushroom farms, and off-takers are going to be available. And it is only for the members of this association. And it is only for those who have trained from this association to maintain standard, to maintain quality, uniformity in price, and uniformity in cost of production, with just little variances here and there. So there will be off-takers to buy from small holdings. You can sell your mushroom fresh. You can dry your mushroom and package it like this. This is the product of our chairman, board of trustees, far away in Rivers. You see, this one can stay in shelf for a very long time. It has been dried. You can see the beautiful packaging. Your own farms can produce like this. Certain off-takers who are not interested in growing or in producing can come to your farm and buy your product, dry it in their own way, and package it in their own way. All we are interested in that there must be uniformity. And for there to be uniformity, the standard must be maintained. That's why this seminar, this awareness is very important. This sensitization is very important. At the end of time, not long from now, you will find out that all those big shops, ShopRite, this and that, so many of them selling mushrooms. We are not asking them not to sell, but we are saying that for you to sell, to have mushroom in your shelf, dried or fresh, you must have 30% of local content. That means for the mushroom you sell in a day, for the mushroom you store in a month, there must be 30% of it coming from Nigeria. And not just Nigeria, coming from the association. We have gotten that sorted out. We are already discussing with Pharmaceutical Association of Nigeria. You know they use a lot of mushroom for so many drugs. You must also not produce drugs with mushroom without 30% content. As we grow, we are just 1 year as an association, and we have gotten this far. As we grow, we will increase the percentage. As the farms spring up from everywhere, we will make it all of a sudden 80%, and over time, you don't need to bring mushroom to Nigeria. That's our target. Now, for funding, there are many grants. I was discussing with them at the ministry the other time. There are many grants from the world organizations that we are not exploiting. We are not exploiting it because we are not organized. We are not organized because we are not able to form ourselves into associations and convince the government that this mushroom association, you know, when I was making giving the welcome address, I told you that the real meaning of mushroom is a product that grows rapidly, multiplies rapidly. So activities of mushroom is going to be multiplying very rapidly. And that is why I am very happy that most of us are from different organizations, all farmers association, Ubunge, cooperative, and so on and so forth. It will be easy for us to work with you. It will be easy for us to send off-takers to take your products. It will be easy for us to, when grants come, to say this grant is for mushroom farmers of all farmers associations. This grant will be for Ubunge cooperatives, and so many of us that are here. That is why you have to belong to this association. We are also bringing every other people that are doing training. You know, we have Nigerian Society of Engineers, we have Nigerian Pharmaceutical Association, we have Nigerian Bar Association. If these people did not satisfy that you are their professional, will you practice? If the Bar Association did not give you any license to practice as a lawyer, any certificate, would you go and practice? Would they give you certificate when you did not take their exams? This is exactly what this association is going to do to our members. This is also what we are going to do to the industry. We are going to begin to roll out policy statements that will change our lives positively. So now joining the association, we are not in a hurry. We are here today, we are here tomorrow. And if for the purposes of joining, I can still stay back, you know, I like money. So that as many as that want to join, you can easily join. All I need to do is to give you our account number, and then you go to the bank and you pay the money, get me an evidence that you have paid. I think I have enough complimentary card to give to the association.
Yeah, we can make it part.
The individual membership is 20,000. The cooperative membership is 50,000. And the corporate membership for big farmers, that one is 100,000. But I have always encouraged people to come together and form a cooperative. So instead of paying individual farm for 20,000, 10 of you can come, become a cooperative. Instead of 10,000, instead of 20,000, it becomes 5,000. If you bring it among you, you will get 50,000. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you so much, Abidi. It's in that place and snapping pictures there for free. We're still going to get opportunity of hearing more and having more answers to some of our questions in the subsequent presentation. If you have the program and you look at it, you will see that. For those of us who came in after this announcement was made, if you feel pressed or impressed, you have the privilege of using the restroom all around this auditorium. We have the closest one to this auditorium. If you go out from the back door, just turn immediately to your right, you will see the restroom there for both the ladies and the gentlemen. So you are free to express yourself in the restroom. But it's not the place, just like the president corrected, for us to go and rest. We can ease ourselves there. We will be going for a break shortly, and during the break time, we'll have opportunity of interacting with ourselves. Like I said, when I pressed the word mush, I wanted to type mushroom on my phone to know the meaning so that I can get myself a cue before coming. And my phone picked only mush. And when I saw the meaning, I was surprised. And this is not supposed to be the meaning of mushroom. Mush actually is an internet word for friend. And so if you put room to mush, you have friend room. Let's make this environment a friendly room, a mush room, a room filled with friends, and let's make friends before we leave. Before we go for the break, he has been introduced to us, but I think we can still get to know him better. And I'm talking about the octogenarian, who is the grand patron of this great association. He's a man wearing many caps, the former military governor of the whole River State. He's an elder statesman in Nigeria of today. I want us to put our hands together for His Majesty, King Alfred, keep clapping until he comes up to give us his beautiful message. If that clapping is not sounding enough, the octogenarian will not stand up.
Thank you very much. My fellow mushroom growers and exporters, I salute you. The mushroom is a strategic industry. Our country is going through a phase now, and we could be the main drivers of the economy. In 1979, China took the bold step, and within 20 years, he had overtaken America. That is 20 years ago, 1999. So she's way ahead of the rest of the world. Now, we have a population, 200 million. And if we get everybody, every household involved, we could catch up using the Chinese initiative prototype. What they're trying to do is to see that every household knows or takes part in the production of food. Just like how they could chicken pens or vegetable gardens in order to have money. Now, obviously, you might produce more than you need for yourself. So, in a mass mushroom exporters association has formed now, truly registered, which you can also belong to if you belong to that category of people who want to market mushroom. There's a lot of demand all over the world. A lot of research, even 2 days ago, I was being told that the Far East, the demand is so high. And that will snap it all. Now this mass mushroom exporters association will also act like the old marketing board. So any excess mushroom you produce, which is more than what you need for your family or your immediate environment, we can arrange to pick and export. It could be fresh, it could be processed, but anything that is available will be welcome. Happy to be able to make it here. We missed our way. The director was telling us to fire ahead. Okay. So we got to a dead end, so we started asking questions. So I'm happy to be here with you all, and I wouldn't have missed this for anything in the world. I thought I must come here and see your smiling faces and share your aspirations. My friend as a naval officer, but I do a few other things also in my community. We are down in Brass, the lowest point of Nigeria. You know, when you draw the map of Nigeria, the lowest latitude in the ocean. That's where my kingdom is. And there's a lot of fish. Only last month, I think a whale dish. And last 2 weeks ago, I think a shark came ashore also. Sorry, we butchered it up. So we are also lucky. Bayelsa State has an international cargo airport. So we intend to set up an national mushroom institute, which should be able to train and retrain persons and also produce mass production of funds to service the entire West African coast. The main thing that holds back with the creation of mushrooms is the availability of funds. As you all know, the spent mushroom bags, the very good organic manure, and if you come to this thing, what I thought you will see us producing exotic crops like noni. We produce large enough quantities, we are even bottling now. So there are endless opportunities. So those of you who have started, encourage your friends and relations all to join. We would like to see the whole of Nigeria galvanized into one family as far as mushroom production is concerned. I wish you all useful deliberations. I'll be with you for the rest of the day. God bless you.
Thank you so much for being part of this great gathering and for coming to Babcock. And we pray that your coming to Babcock will enrich you richly in Jesus' name. We'll go forward. I understand that you're already being served something to munch. And some of us are served already mushroom pie, mushroom donut, mushroom chin-chin, mushroom water. I don't know about that one. Okay. Alright, so feel free to eat what we have been given, and then we can stretch ourselves. Maybe in the next 30 minutes or so, we will start the second session so that we can close early. For those of us who still want to snap pictures around and get to the 5-star hotel to lodging and enjoy ourselves. He said something about sustainable cultivation on the Dandogo question that I asked. And I know quite a lot of us, we have our house filled with clothes that we have not used for many years, and we just kept keeping them there. The ones that you can give out either to prison, people in prison, people who are less privileged, and then the rest, I believe we can convert them to substrate for growing mushroom. That might be sustainable for some people if those clothes are not made.
Mm-hmm.